welcome to another edition of Akau TV. We're joined today by a special guest down from the South Island base for Akau. We're joined by assistant trainer Sam Bergerson. How are you going, Sam?
Yeah, good, Hazy. Pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Well, we've been trying to get you on the show for a while, and we've finally succeeded. So thanks for coming on the show. Just quickly, we've had a great last 7 days at the stable down south. You had 3 winners on Saturday and 3 seconds. Can you talk us about talk to us quickly just about how the team's going down there leading into Cup Week in a week's time?
Yeah, it was an awesome weekend, like you say. Probably the culmination of a lot of hard work by a good group of staff down here and a nice group of horses, which always helps.
How long have you been down there for, Sam?
So I sort of came down 6 weeks ago, I think. And
you were joined by Lydia Truesdale as well.
Yeah, Lydia's been a massive help. So she sort of was here when the first group of horses arrived, and she's the foreman here, and she does a fantastic job, and she's ably assisted by a good sort of group of staff down here. So, it's all going well.
Yes, awesome. Well, great to get some form on the board. I guess the viewers out there would like to know a little bit more about you and how you've kind of come to become the assistant trainer at Akau. Can you talk us a bit about your background? I know you're a stalwart of the Central Districts and from keen racing stock. So do you want to just give us a bit of background about you?
Yeah, like you say, obviously grew up with the horses with Dad being a trainer and my grandfather Herb, as well as my great-grandfather on my mother's side. So now I brought up with the horses. One thing led to another. I actually steered away from them for a while and went to university down in Massey with an accounting degree and worked as an accountant while studying that. Got to the end of it and sort of decided this wasn't what I wanted to do. And I ended up travelling around the world. Got a rugby gig in the south of Ireland.
What position did you play on the rugby field? You'd be a back for sure.
Yeah. A bit of a battler, but sort of try my hand at first five or fullback. Not too flash.
Yeah, the old playmaker.
Fake it till you make it, eh?
Cool. So then you progressed from playing rugby to working with horses over there. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was headed the rugby gig down in Kinsale, down the bottom of Cork. And one thing led to another through family friends. I ended up with a job at Ballydoyle for Aidan O'Brien, and spent about 10 or 11 months there, and absolutely loved it.
They've got a corner on the racetrack there that mirrors one of the big racetracks in the UK, don't they?
Oh, the grass gallops are amazing. They had one gallop called the Epsom Gallop, and it was sort of like hilly, like the Epsom Derby, and things like just crazy. The setup's amazing, and the facilities there, and then obviously the stock as well. It was awesome. I absolutely loved it. And then the visa ran out, and I had to come home. And was sort of back working with the horses for Dad, and then spending my afternoons at Wellfield Stud down in Palmerston North. And saw an advert online, I think, about this Sunline Scholarship, and sort of looked at the past recipients and things like that. Obviously, Jamie had done it, and guys like Benji King as well, and he's working at Akau now as well. And a whole different group of people, Michael Wallace, and thought this would be a great opportunity to, again, see the world a bit more with the horses. So spent time in England, Ireland, and America at so some of the biggest stud farms at the world, so more on the breeding side rather than the racing. This sort of broadened my horizons a bit, and absolutely loved, I think it was 9 months of that.
Well, so who were some of the bigger horses that you were associated with when you were in some of those big studs?
So at Coolmore in Ireland, there's a short stint. I think you said like 3 or 4 weeks on the stallion side, and absolutely so Galileo, Caravaggio.
Oh, you got your hands on Galileo.
Yeah, I got lucky enough. Got a photo. Got my little snippet with him. He's pretty well protected. They don't really just hand him over, but I got lucky. I got the photo with him, so I was stoked. But no, plenty of amazing stock.
Great. So, and then from there, you obviously came back to New Zealand, and you met DC and Jamie at the sales, and I understand they offered you a foreman role working with Nicole Shaler in the middle barn there.
Yeah, so I was just working the sales for Wellfield, and Jamie and DC approached me and said, "Look, there'll be a great opportunity for you to move up to Meta and come work for Te Akau as the assistant foreman to Nicole Shaler in the middle barn." And they sort of mentioned the horses that were there and the people and everything, and it was just too good an opportunity to turn down. Awesome. And I sort of never looked back since.
Well, it's pretty evident that your star's kind of risen from that point, which was only a couple of years ago now, and you've grown pretty quickly into the assistant training ranks, and now you're heading up the team down in the South Island with a pretty exciting contingent of horses down there. So well done, mate. That's awesome. I thought we'd just quickly touch on the performances of some of those runners from last weekend. Obviously, 3 winners in Irish Red, Shepherd's Delight, and No Veer. Can you just talk us through just some of those horses and them chalking up some wins last weekend?
Yeah, Shepherd's Delight and Irish Red, they were 2 great wins. Outstandingly ridden by Cozzy. Both sort of sat outside the leader, controlled the race, and kicked clear. And so the plan with them at this stage is to press on to the 1,000 Guineas, and they should be 2 really good chances.
It sounds like there's going to be quite a number of runners in that 1,000 Guineas from this point. So we're looking at 4, 5, or 6 runners. How many are going to head that way?
Touch wood, hopefully 5 at this stage. Those 2 down here, as well as Synchronized, all going well from Sunday. 6. And then Imperatriz.
3 joining you next week.
Yeah, 3 joining Imperatriz, Ballon Rouge, and hopefully the Perfect Pink as well.
Awesome. I heard OP spruik the Perfect Pink on the radio yesterday, so it'll be interesting when some of those horses are sent down and they start joining the stable from, I think, next Thursday. And that'll give them 8 or 9 days leading into the 1,000 Guineas the following week. So also on the 2,000 Guineas side, Navier was a good winner. It's great to see, I guess, high-profile horses like him come out and do the job in high-quality races. Can you talk us through No Veer and just how he's heading into the 2,000 Guineas?
Yeah, so he's pulled up really well. Sort of had a quiet earlier week this week, and he's sort of built in from Saturday, have a good piece of work on Saturday, Tuesday, and then sort of to top him off Thursday into the next Saturday's race. He hasn't really missed a beat since he arrived down 5 or 6 weeks ago. He's a pleasure to have around the stable. He's a beautiful horse, and his nature matches it. He's got a great temperament for a colt. Any of the staff down here can handle him. And he just really, when the saddle and the bridle goes on, he just really wants to do it for you. So look, couldn't be happier with him. He's really exciting going forward, and hopefully with a bit of luck next Saturday, he'll be hard to beat.
Absolutely. And of course, I Wish I Win has also been down there for a couple of weeks now. We saw him at Ashburton where he ran second. How's he progressed since his last run?
Yeah, so we've only he hasn't been down here as long as the other horses that have been here. He arrived a week before the Barneswood, where I thought he went a really good race without a lot of luck. Sort of got knocked around a bit and flushed wide on the corner and stuck on well. He's an absolute gentleman to have around the barn as well. Such a cruisy horse, a great nature, and again, when the saddle goes on, he's really keen to do it for you. His work, he had a piece of 3/4 Thursday morning, and Samit Pillay, who's a senior track work rider, really happy with him. So he'll have another good hit out tomorrow, Saturday morning, and then again awesome. Tuesday, like No Veer, Thursday again. Awesome. Saturday. Really pleased with him. He's eating well, looks good in the coat, and again, bit of luck. he should hopefully be there or thereabouts.
Absolutely. Well, awesome to hear about some of those horses and their progress as they head into what's going to be an awesome week of racing down in Christchurch. So I guess just before we leave you and jump over to Jamie, it might be worth just touching on Synchronize on Sunday at where is she at? She's at Ashburton in race 8, the Thank You Barneswood Farm Stakes, rating 74, benchmark 1400 meters. She's got Samantha Win on board from barrier 7.
Yeah, obviously Sam knows her well, having won on her last start. Sort of ridden upside down in the Canterbury Bell, which is why the zero's on her form line, but was much better last start. Just riding her back, key is to ride her back and get her to relax and then show her turn her foot. Sort of the 1400 might be the query leading into the Guineas. She's a very fast filly, just whether she can stay the 1400 and then the mile into the Guineas. But if they're ever going to do it, it is against their own age group and sex for the 1,000 Guineas. So, look, we're pleased with her. She's trained on really well from that run. Her work's been really good, and she should run a very competitive race on Sunday.
Absolutely, and she'll be very fit on the clock back up into the 1,000 Guineas, I'm sure, as well. Well, thanks for joining us, Sam, and thanks for giving us a bit of an insight into the team down south. And also a bit of background about yourself. I would love to see some old footage of you playing first 5. Hopefully you can dig it up for me at some point. But we'll leave you to it, and we'll cross over to Jamie Richards shortly. So thank you, Sam. Cheers.
Cheers, Hazy. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Jamie, how's the day been going, mate? I hear you've been out looking at some ready-to-run horses.
Yep, no, day's gone well. Busy morning with jump outs this morning and a frustrating amount of rain, which just doesn't seem to be easing. But yeah, got around a few ready to runners at Te Rapa today under all of the COVID protocols and everything like that. So NZB are doing a great job at getting the buyers to see the horses, and the consigners are sort of meeting us where we need to see them. Pretty difficult situation, really, for people that are preparing horses in Auckland, and people can't get up there and see them. So good initiative there today to bring some horses down to Te Rapa to be viewed. So had a good look at those, and Dave's had a busy week on the road. I've sort of joined in where I can, but yeah, there's certainly some really nice horses out there, and we'll be active again and try and find another Ginger Nuts or a Te Akau Shark.
Right, and Mark Walker did mention to us a couple of weeks ago that he'd viewed the breeze ups, and they were some of the more impressive breeze ups that he'd seen prior to any ready to run sale in the past 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, so the breeze ups are good. I've got the catalogue here. Mark's been right through it. I've been through it. Dave's been through it as well. So yeah, a bit of a team approach there, like we always do, and hopefully we can try and find some nice horses.
Absolutely, and we've just had, I guess, your partner in crime from the South Island, Sam Bergerson, on the show. He's given us a bit of an insight into himself and how he's become, I guess, a big part of the team down there. You were down south yesterday. Anything that you can report from down there?
I thought the horses looked fantastic. Starting to warm up down there now, and horses are really starting to look good in their coats. So, I was particularly, obviously, really pleased with Novia, who won the Water Cree there, and goes into the 2,000 Guineas as favourite Saturday week. We've got some really nice horses to race down there through Cup Week. It's a time of the year that Dave really likes to support. We've had a lot of success at Riccarton through Cup Week, and we're certainly looking forward to the upcoming rendition of it this week. Unfortunately, there's going to be COVID restrictions and the crowds won't be there, but hopefully we can, still train some nice winners.
What does that mean for, I guess, people movement in terms of yourself being able to attend, and also jockeys such as Opie and Danielle? Are they all good to go down there at this stage?
At this stage, everything's looking good there, Hazy. It's just, I guess, say, for example, if Christchurch had a few more cases and went to level 3, then that really does put us in a tight spot. But at the moment, as an essential service, I was able to fly down, and Opie and Danielle and whoever else is going down will be able to. Is got to get a negative test, I guess, and temperature checks and all of those sorts of things. But we all want to do our part to make sure that racing can continue.
But I guess at the same time, if anything was to happen, some of those jockeys down south are doing a good job flying the flag in the absence of some of these northern riders, the Rohan Madus, Kozi Asano, and Jason Lakings of the world, all riding some great races over the last weekend, which is good. So I guess just quickly covering off the week that's been, we've had a pretty superb week, really. We had 6 winners last Saturday, 3 at Riccarton. You also got your best bet home, Vamos Bibi. The Trelawney team's having a really good run of late, and she just added to the mix there. Obviously, Imperatriz was successful in Soliloquy, and then Mai Tai stuck her neck out at the right time on the line to win there before Zaitaku won on Labour Day on Monday, and also Exotonic. And you also had the Fortuna horse, Mohawk Brave, race well yesterday at Te Araha and get a win for the team. And then outside of that, I guess another news, the stable apprentice Niranjan Palmer got his first win at home on Monday and then again on Thursday. So good to see the apprentices, especially with a 4 kilo claim, starting to really hit his straps. Any comments on that?
Yeah, so great day last Saturday, as you say. 3 winners at Riccarton, touching on them briefly. Irish Red and Shepherd's Delight both won well for Kozi and maiden races. They'll both look to go to the 1,000 guineas. We took them down there specifically to target, stakes racing to enhance their value as broodmare prospects, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to crack on and give them their chance. Then, as you say, back up here. So I was touched on Novia. Back up here, as you say, Imperatriz won nicely. She'll go to the 1,000 guineas. Mai Tai won nicely. We were thinking about taking her to the All-Star Mile, the Copeland's Mile, and we just decided against travelling her. So she'll go to Tauranga either for an open 14 or a weight for age race, and then go to the Captain Cook. And Vamos Bibi, she could well be seen in the Counties Bowl, 20th of November. She's just having a quiet week at the water treadmill, and then she'll be back in. But she made up for a men's at her first start when she sort of got back off the track at Hastings and never really got involved in the race. But she's a very good mare, and as you say, Trelawney's racing team's really going well at the moment. So it's been a good few days. Itaku was good. He's a colt that we bought from the Ready to Run sale last year. And Mohawk Brave was good at Te Araha yesterday. He's a horse that John sourced through the English digital platform. I think one of those cult syndicates, sort of ones that they were looking to move on. And he's a horse that's by Extreme Choice, who's really set the world on fire with his progeny. And he looks to have another nice horse. As I say, I was really stoked to get Palmer to get his first winner on Exotonic, and then back it up with Mohawk Brave. And the apprentices, they're such a vital part of how we run the business. They're here riding work, really important. They're here educating babies, doing the gallops, and we get a big thrill out of seeing them get going. And it's great to have Joe Cameroon really riding well, down to a 2 kg claim and in high demand. And hopefully, Palmer, much like Joe, was a little bit slow to get going, but now it's starting to sort of fit a bit better. He's getting on some nice horses, and no doubt that Palmer will go through the ranks, hopefully much like Joe has, and they're both going to be jockeys, and grow into jockeys that we can be really proud of.
Absolutely. And just quickly touching on some of the runs we had in Australia last weekend. Obviously, probably just keeps getting a little bit unlucky with the conditions that she faces. She's obviously had 2 years at the Cox Plate, where she's faced a wet track, and then obviously in the All-Star Mile as well. Similar conditions again last Saturday. I did see a video that Cambridge Stud shared yesterday of her kicking around in the paddock in New Zealand. Can you just talk quickly about that and I guess future plans for the mare?
So probably was banned from racing at Moonee Valley. We're not going back ever. Just it's so frustrating that the campaign can be going so well, whether it be the Cox Plate or the All-Star Mile, and then the weather can just put your chances completely out the door. So She's a great mare, and we haven't had an opportunity to really show off her talent in the Cox Plate or in the All-Star Mile for that matter. But she's travelled home safely. We were giving some thought to backing her up in the McKinnon, but the Cox Plate was always going to be a grand final, and not often do you enjoy a lot of success when you go one more at the back end of a preparation like that. You most of the time flatten them, and then they go to the spelling paddock a bit tired or a bit worse for wear, and it takes them longer to get them back on the other side. So as many of you sort of viewers there would have seen that on Twitter there, Cambridge did put that video of her kicking around the paddock, and she's obviously travelled home in great shape, and she'll have a month or 4 or 5 weeks away from the stable, come back in, and then probably follow a similar sort of program to what she did last autumn. The All-Star Mile will be run at Caulfield this year, I believe, which is a track that she really likes, so that might be a nice target for her, maybe going through the Futurity again, but yeah, just a shame that we weren't able to really show her off in the Cox Plate because of the track conditions.
Absolutely, and no plans at this stage whether the next campaign will be the last time that we see her?
Yeah, I'd say she'll be going to the Stallion in the spring, so we're trying to set her up for a really big autumn. I'm not sure if she's going to be racing on in the spring and getting bred at the same time, or whether she just goes and as a mum after this autumn campaign, but whichever way she does go, we'll really look forward to the autumn and trying to give her the best send-off that we can.
Perfect. And I guess we'll just touch quickly on Trivier. Things really didn't go her way. She was racing, I guess, out from a wide draw, tried to get a position, and then got zoomed up to the lead, which is against her normal racing pattern. A bit of a shame how that all transpired, given the amount of time and effort that had gone into getting her to that race. But
yeah, the day said to a couple of people during the week the day was going really well till about 7 o'clock, and then it went all downhill from there. So look, Tommy Berry got it wrong, just way too close to the speed, but showed a good bit of tenacity and heart to fight on and be beaten just over length and running fourth. So really proud of her. She's home Sunday, and she'll be having a week, 10 days, couple of weeks in the paddock, and then we'll try and get her ready for the Railway and the Telegraph, all going well.
Right. And Paul Richards, your dad, can't be too far behind her?
Yeah, Dad's so the restrictions have sort of eased there between New South Wales and Victoria. So he's shot down to give Ashley a hand with our 3 runners this weekend at Flemington, and then he's in quarantine, I think early December, and very excited about the latest update there with the 1 week instead of 2 weeks.
Absolutely, aren't we all? So I guess we've got a pretty big weekend of racing ahead of us, particularly at Flemington, where you are lining up 3 horses in 3 separate Group 1 races. I understand that could possibly be, or you could possibly be the first Kiwi trainer to have 3 runners and 3 individual Group 1 races on Derby Day at Flemington. Someone might correct us in the comments if we're wrong, but that's the intel that I'm getting. So well done to getting that amount of quality horses across to one of Melbourne's biggest race days. I guess we'll cover those horses off in a second, or we could probably do that now, actually. So over in Flemington, I guess first up in race 5, the TAB Empire Rose Stakes. It's a Group 1 race for fillies and mares over a mile. We've got Amaralina with James McDonald aboard. This is a race, obviously, that Melody Bell won a few years back.
Yeah, a race that was sort of had in the back of our minds for her, possibly and Carmelas for a little while. So we thought we'd bring Amaralina down. I think she's going to love the big Flemington track. Miles suits her. She's got the nice draw, and I guess it's quite well, it's good for us and good confidence for us in the ownership group that James wants to stick with her. She's had no luck in the early part of her preparation, got shuffled up back to last at her first start, and then got caught 3 deep with the big weight last time. But she's travelled down in really good order. This is a very strong race, as are all of these races. This is a fantastic day's racing, and as the purists say, the best day's racing on the calendar, Derby Day. So when you're talking about meeting Tefane and only giving her half a kilo, and then you talk about horses like Colette and Hungry Heart and a handful of other horses that are in that race, she's going to have to be right at her very best to be competitive, but I'd like to think she's a genuine top 3 chance.
Right, is she better on her Wellington leg or her Auckland leg? Or no difference? Left or right-handed?
We've sort of always thought that she might be a little bit better. Yeah, we've always sort of thought that she might be a little bit better right-handed, but in saying that, I think as she's got older, she's become more adaptable. So I wouldn't be at all concerned going left-handed. She's an Oaks winner that way. Won the Boss's fillies race there at Te Rapa, left-handed. So no concerns going back left-handed for me.
Perfect. And moving down to the stallion making race 7, the Coolmore Stud Stakes, a prestigious Group 1 race for 3-year-olds over set weights, over 1,200 metres. We've got the Snitzel Colt lining up from Barrier 7, Sword of State with Luke Curry aboard.
Yeah, Sword of State, I guess, has sort of mixed his form a little bit early in his prep here. We got held up, and then he's a little bit disappointing in Sydney in his 2 runs back, but he's needed those runs to get him fully fit, and we thought we would travel him down and just sort of see how he got on with the jump out. So he won his jump out there last Friday at beating some of those other horses. Now we asked him to do a little bit, and some of the others behind him were hard held, no doubt about that, but it would give us a bit of confidence to have a crack. It's a great field. His work's been good. He worked well straight there again. Everything's gone according to plan. He's going to jump and put himself up in the race from a nice draw. He's got options whether they go to the inside fence or the outside fence, but he's going to have to be at his very best to be competitive. So we're just hoping he can run well, and if he gets a nice run there, hopefully he can show us best.
Yeah, and not many horses can lead up that straight and win at Flemington, can they?
No, very difficult to do, but we'll happy. Definitely go forward and be positive, but he doesn't need to lead at all costs. If something wants to go, then we're happy to, we're happy to take a sit.
Great, and Luke Curry is obviously a pretty accomplished rider at Flemington as well, so good to have him on board. And I guess his value, if he was to win a race like that, would be astronomical as well.
Yep, absolutely. It's a stallion making race. I was reading a few comments there during the week. It's the golden slipper for 3-year-olds. So yeah, that's a really important race in the calendar, and no doubt whatever horse is winning are going to definitely be finding a home at stud as Sort of State will when he retires to Cambridge Stud in years to come.
Absolutely. And then just down to race 8, the Kennedy Cantala. It's a Group 1 handicap race over a mile. We've got Karma Lass in there with Mick D on board and carrying 52 kilos. Yeah,
so we're happy with Karma Lass. She was going to run at Caulfield there on the last day of the carnival, but we sort of just got a bit wet Caulfield Cup day, so we waited. We gave her a little quiet trial, tipped her over. We were sort of 50-50 whether we'd run in the Cantala or we just thought down in the weights for a mare that is not overly big. She was so good winning that listed race at Caulfield there down in the weights against the boys. So we thought we'd roll the dice. We've got a nice low gate. She's going to have to run career best, as all 3 of these horses are. Going to be incredibly difficult to win, but we think she deserves her chance, and she's going to be an interesting runner. I know she's paying plenty, but good each way place. So we're just hoping that they can run well, and would be thrilled if 1 or 2 of them could run in the top 3. To be fair.
Absolutely. Well, if she gets a quiet run on the fence, then who knows what can happen with that kind of weight. So I guess just outside of this, we've got a couple of runners running around in Tauranga. You did have Aotea Lad nominated down the line. Is he confirmed to start at Tauranga, or will he go to Awapuni?
So we had a lot of rain. Tauranga's come up a heavy 11, so we've taken everything out of Tauranga apart from Big Franklin, who'll run in the maiden mile. He's a horse that should appreciate some given the ground. He's having his first start. He's probably a stayer or possibly even a jumper, so not entirely sure how he'll go, but he won a trial there last week. So sit and watch him, and our only other runner in New Zealand on Saturday will be Aotea Lad, who's gone down to Awapuni. We had him double accepted. Awapuni's track looks a little bit better than Tauranga's. Callum Jones is going to claim 3. He was really good at Rotorua last time, and in what looks to be an even race, hopefully he can have a bit of luck. Got to be a genuine top 3 chance.
Absolutely. Well, I guess that's the runners for the weekend. 5 to choose from. Are you going to keep the momentum up and try and pick one, even if it's a place?
One more, Hazy. Ashburton Sunday.
Ashburton Sunday. I have got that. We've covered it off with Sammy B.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm going to go. Our best for the weekend is Ashburton Sunday, synchronise.
Easy.
Hopefully on the way to the 1,000 guineas.
Perfect. Well, hopefully we can get another one up for the team. And I guess moving forward to next week, it's when things really start to heat up down south. We've obviously got those runners at Riccarton, and possibly there was talk of Emeralina backing up in the Matriarch. Is that still on the cards?
Yeah, let's get through Saturday with Emeralina first, but definitely considering backing her up in the Matriarch if she was to run well on Saturday. We'll see.
Good as gold. Well, good luck once again, Jamie, and hopefully we can keep the form up and keep the winners ticking along, mate. And we will catch you.